by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
The governor of Texas has declared a state of disaster after floods ravage 18 counties, claiming at least one life. I'm Laura Podesta. Will show you the images of the swollen rivers and damage.
And President Trump will be campaigning for Montana Republicans in Missoula tomorrow. Coming up, the special challenges the president's team visit is presenting for the airport and other agencies in Missoula.
6:30 on this Wednesday. Chet Lehman, Missy O'Malley with you. Matt has our forecast in a moment. Our top story, again, the weather this half hour. The governor of Texas has declared a state of disaster after floods ravaged some 18 counties.
CBS's News' Laura Podesta shows us some images of the widespread damage that's killed at least one person.
Historic. That's what officials are calling flood levels in central Texas. The Llano River in Junction has swollen above 30 feet, causing road closures and evacuations. Officials shut down this bridge over the Colorado River after one person died, leaving residents in Llano County in shock.
I've never seen this out. 96 and 97 were both pretty good flood, but I believe this is a lot worse.
Farther east, near Austin, a school bus driver was arrested after he drove around a barricade and over a low water crossing. A 12-year-old student on board needed to be rescued from swift waters. 4 floodgates are trying to relieve pressure by pushing water out of Lake Travis and into Lake Austin. Crowds flock to see the sheer power of the operation.
It's a pretty big deal. I mean, it's interesting to watch. It's a neat system that we have set up to keep this, the Central Texas, Austin from flooding, and it's also very powerful and amazing to watch.
The rain is also causing issues in other parts of Texas. The Fort Worth Fire Department says it responded to more than 80 traffic accidents yesterday because of the weather conditions. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Now, forecasters are also concerned that the Llano River could actually have a secondary rise at some point today. And Matt, that's usually what you end up talking about, is that extra surge.
Yep, it takes a little while for that water to reach the river, and then all of a sudden it's picking up steam as well. So we'll be watching that. Temperatures here trying to pick up steam as well.
You got a little work to do yet.
Yeah, a little chilly early on. Teens and 20s early into the morning. Our daytime highs will eventually work their way back to near the upper 50s to low 60s. I don't expect any significant chances of rain over the course of the next 5 days. Of course, temperatures will warm up. By the way, we've been talking a lot about earthquakes and stuff over the last few days. It looks like we're probably going to be dealing with the possibility, maybe a few. As a matter of fact, yesterday we were dealing with some earthquakes out across the area near Manhattan. We've been talking about that, and of course along I-90 in Gallatin County. 2 earthquakes rumbled through the area earlier in the morning yesterday around 6:50 with a 2.5 magnitude earthquake, and then west of Manhattan with a stronger one at about 10:46, 3.3 magnitude. Those are a couple of the stronger ones with all the blue circles that you saw. Keep in mind that there are some fault lines. There have been numerous earthquakes over the last 10 days, so put a little bit of a swarm in there. No surprise, because several faults are out there. In fact, we've got 4 total. The Bridger line, also out toward Gallatin fault line, Elk Creek fault line, as well as that Central Park fault line as well. You look back in history, Clarkston Valley had a 6.6 magnitude back in 1925. So again, swarms of earthquakes out there.
Did some damage to Manhattan High School in that earthquake as well. Knocked a wall out of the school back in 25. So.
Wow. Switching gears to our top story for you now. President Donald Trump arrives in Missoula on Thursday. He will hold his rally at the Minuteman hangar at the Missoula Airport. And this presents Missoula International Airport with some logistical issues that they're still trying to work out. MTN's Connor McCauley has our details.
Thursday, the Missoula Airport will have one arrival that requires some extra attention, leaving some to ask what effects that will have on other flights.
It doesn't appear at this time that flights will really be too impacted by the events. We'll have a period of time when Air Force One's arriving and a period of time when it's departing where the airspace would be closed. But those times fall pretty well within our operating schedule where it should really be a minimal impact on our flights.
While no flight times will seem to be affected, people should still expect some delays getting to and from the airport.
Yeah, I think the big thing is, especially as we get closer to the event in the afternoon, there's likely to be a fair amount of congestion, you know, cars, people, things of that nature. And so what we're really telling people is to make sure they come here, you know, well in advance of their scheduled departure.
Plans for parking are still in the works, but MSO says that when those plans are finalized, they will be easy to find and comprehend.
We're still working through the parking, so I don't know exactly the details of that. So what I would tell people is, obviously the event is at the airport, and obviously there will be parking. The exact details of that parking are still in the works. But there'll be lots of signage, so as people are coming out for the event itself, there'll be signage to tell them where to go and what to expect.
MSO says that they are excited for the chance to host a sitting president, but for a rather aviation-based reason.
Number one, as airplane geeks, which most of us that work at the airport are, we see some really unique and interesting aircraft. And you know, that as much as anything, that's what we're focused on from the airport perspective, because that's really our involvement with the whole event, is more handling of the aircraft.
In Missoula, Connor McCauley, MTN News.
Some logistics to work through for sure. Now, Mountain Line says that we'll have its Route 11 service running that day, but it doesn't have any extra plans for extra services to the airport for bus services that day.
From Missoula back to Bozeman, Montana State University has set an enrollment record this fall, 16,902 students. This is the most students the university has ever had in its 125 years. Also sets a retention rate record, and its 4- to 6-year graduation rate has gone up as well.
We credit most of our success to our faculty and staff. I mean, they're out there working every single day to make sure students are finding the help that they need, they're finding the classes that they need, and they're provided with as much opportunity and access to higher education as possible.
Now, MSU has seen moderate but steady growth at the university over the last several years. By the way, enrollment growth not the story at Montana Tech in Butte. Fall semester enrollment down nearly 100 students. MTN's John Amy tells us why officials at the university say this downward trend may continue.
Montana Tech's enrollment continues to decline, and that has academic officials here at this Butte University concerned.
Well, anytime you lose enrollment, you need to consider the financial impacts and those kind of things go along with it.
The university's official enrollment for the fall is 2,583 students, which is down about 95 students from last fall. Academic leaders here at the university say there are a number of factors for the downward spiral in enrollment. One reason for the downturn in enrollment is the lack of people seeking majors in petroleum engineering.
It has steadily been declining since the 4 or 5 years ago, when the price of oil was over $100 a barrel. It dropped to somewhere in the mid-20s. So we've seen a consistent decline in petroleum engineering.
Another major factor that's affecting all universities in Montana is the lack of high school graduates in the state.
Data has shown that the graduation rates in high school in Montana is going to continue to decline until about 2023. So in order to grow our enrollment, we're going to have to recruit more out-of-state students.
On a positive note, the university has seen a growth in freshman enrollment. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Now, John tells us Montana Tech officials say they have been working on a major marketing campaign to better promote the positives about the university.
And this is a fabulous story. A waitress at a bar south of Busby, east of Billings, got a generous tip, but it got even better when she used that money to buy a Montana Lottery scratch-off ticket. Leah Hunsalong turned in her $50 tip into a $70,000 win. She started working at the Kirby Saloon as a patron when a patron tipped her, and then she decided to buy a scratch ticket. She put the ticket away and checked it at the end of her shift, hoping to win a couple of bucks, but instead it was a $70,000 winner. She said she and her family are talking about how to use that money. She calls her uncanny luck a blessing.
I would take some of those winnings and go maybe buy a Mega Millions or a Powerball. Mega Millions unclaimed last night, goes to $868 million. Powerball on the line tonight, $345 million. Combined, those two jackpots worth more than $1 billion in
Wow.
winnings and things like that.
Maybe she'll win them both.
Could happen. Lightning can strike twice.
Absolutely.
And if you get struck 4 or 5 times, your odds of that are better than actually winning the lottery. But who knew?
Who knew? What did you say? Your chance of winning the Powerball is as good as getting struck by lightning while being eaten by a shark in Flathead Lake.
While riding a unicycle.
While riding a unicycle.
That's it. That's exactly right.
I love it. We do have to take a quick break in a moment. A big win for recreational marijuana. It's now legal throughout Canada.
And those odds aren't going to deter me. I'm actually going to go buy a ticket.
Yeah.
We'll have that story in a moment, but first we're going to check in with John Dickerson and see what's coming up at 7 on CBS this morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, what is at stake for U.S. national security in the fallout over the death of Jamal Khashoggi? We'll talk to his longtime friend, Robin Wright, who's covered the Middle East for more than 40 years. And House Speaker Paul Ryan tells us why he thinks Republicans will keep control of the House. We also talk about the top issues that are being discussed on the way to the midterms. We'll see you with all that at 7.